Ring him if you dare.
Allan Beswick, the late night show.
And the telephone number is Preston 561,000. If you wish to join us, you may. We're going to talk to Linda, Alf, Raymond, Sharon, and indeed anybody else that phones. Right now the lines are engaged. Do keep trying. As I say, we're here till 2.
In the Northwest, you know what's best. Red Bulls Radio.
How do, Linda?
Hello, Alan. You know, you told me to go to Citizens Advice
What about?
about a solicitor for my husband that we deported.
Oh, yes.
Well, I went, and they haven't got any specialist solicitors for that kind of thing.
They are not aware of any. Did they look in the legal aid list?
Well, yeah.
And there isn't one in your area?
Well, no, there isn't. The nearest one is Leeds, sorry.
Leeds?
Yeah.
Really, you want a specialist for a job like that? So, are you in a position to travel to Leeds for consultations?
No, not really.
You're not?
No.
What about it? You couldn't use public transport to get there?
No, you see, I'm only on Social Security.
Ah, well, in that case, right. No, you won't be able to. The next stage, then, has got to be getting a local solicitor.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for anyone. Indeed, it's against the rules for the Citizens Advice Bureau to recommend anyone. And if there's nobody specialising in that kind of work, I would suggest that what you do is try to find an organisation that helps people in your situation. There are one or two around. Did the Citizens Advice Bureau tell you of any?
Well, no, I know of one in Manchester, you know, the...
Yes, I know the one you mean.
Yeah.
Get in touch with that organisation, because they may well know of sympathetic solicitors. So get in touch with them, because you really do need a solicitor acting on your behalf. It's very difficult.
Well, the thing is, you see, me and Jack went to all these people before, and they couldn't do anything.
At the end of the day, if the immigration law is the way it's been, if it's been interpreted correctly, then there is nothing you can do. He's just going to have to apply in the normal manner. But it's worth checking out, even at this late stage. Okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, love.
The 11 o'clock news, this is Alan King. Former Home Secretary Leon Britton is predicting a public outcry over plans to free 3,500 prisoners. The government is to give early remissions to inmates jailed for minor offences to alleviate the chronic overcrowding in Britain's prisons. But Mr Britton says it would be wiser to set up more temporary prison camps instead of putting violent criminals and sex offenders back on the streets.
There will be considerable public disquiet at the prospect of some 3,500 prisoners being released prematurely, 630 of whom have been convicted of offences of violence or sexual offences. Would it not have been better to open more camps now rather than to hold out the prospect of doing so?
Scotland Yard says the vast majority of London officers are disgusted with the 5 policemen jailed today for their 3-year cover-up of a brutal attack on a group of schoolboys. The judge told the guilty officers they behaved like vicious hooligans and lied like common criminals. The Yard's Deputy Assistant Commissioner, Peter Winship, says the few have disgraced the many.
We feel extremely angry at what has happened. We feel very, very let down. And I think the sadness is, that really, when we're working so hard to get through to the people of London, that we do care, that we are trying to work in their very best interests. The damage that an isolated incident like this can cause may take us a little time to retrieve.
Labour MPs have attacked the planned merger between British Airways and its rival British Caledonian. They're accusing BA of trying to create a huge monopoly which will threaten jobs and the interests of airline passengers. A distraught father who drowned his baby daughter in the sea at Torquay has been jailed for 8 years at Exeter Crown Court. Dominic Heel reports.
Graham Yeomans drowned little Katie Jane in the sea, then buried her body under rocks. Earlier, he'd attacked his wife with a hammer, throttled her with a scarf and left her for dead. 25-year-old Yeomans from Torquay denied murder and attempted murder, but he admitted manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility and grievous bodily harm. He told police he'd intended to kill himself in the sea with his daughter, but he'd chickened out. Dominic Heel, IRN, Devon.
4 top businessmen from the city have appeared in court charged over an alleged multi-million-pound fraud. Among them is one of the most successful insurance underwriters at Lloyd's, Ian Posgate. This report from Simon Israel.
All 4 were arrested yesterday by the City of London Fraud Squad, the culmination of a 5-year investigation. Posgate, once said to have earned £750,000 a year, has been charged with conspiracy to defraud the Alexander Howden group of companies. 2 former directors, now both retired, appeared alongside Posgate facing the same charge. And another ex-Lloyd's underwriter is also accused of conspiracy to defraud. All have been allowed bail on sureties totalling £400,000 and have had to surrender their passports. They'll appear in court again in October.
Independent Radio News.
Although conditions were cramped and rations were getting low, morale remained high.
Don't worry, men,
said Cecil.
The Huskies will soon be here with the food. Supplies? No, they told me they were coming. Anyway, I'm going out. Back in a couple of shakes.
Suddenly, the wind stopped. Trevor was bored with doing the sound effects.
Hold on,
he said, popping his head out from under the table.
On your way back from the toilet, get us another 1080.
1080 double fermented cider from Strongbow. Best served chilled.
If you fancy a winner at Haydock Park, here's a tip you can rely on. Put your money on a Volkswagen from Rigby Turner. They'll offer you a generous part exchange allowance on your current car and always have a wide choice of new and used Volkswagens in stock. For a list of runners and their starting prices, call Rigby Turner on St Helens 26126. That's 26126. Or visit the showrooms right by the junction of the M6 and the East Lancs Road. With your money on a Volkswagen from Rigby Turner of Haydock, you're on to a certain winner.
Presenting in the worst possible taste. A present for your most loathed companion. Watch them squirm with agony and cringe with anguish. Beswick's Big Blue Cassette. Cheques or postal orders for £3.99, payable to Red Rose Productions, and available now from Red Rose Radio Reception. Beswick's Big Blue Cassette. Listen at your own peril.
Ring him if you dare.
Allan Beswick, the late night show.
Very nearly 5 minutes past 11. The telephone number, Preston 561,000 if you want to join us. Ringers. I'll do Alf.
Evening, Alf. I wonder if you give us a bit of advice, but today I went to the supermarket in Ireland, like, you know, not give any name, and I bought a loaf. It's a Mother's Pride, and I get it home.
Alf?
Hello?
Do you know when you said you weren't going to give any names?
Mm-hmm.
Is Mother's Pride not a name?
Well, it is, really. I thought it meant
Good night,
supermarket
Alf.
name.
Good night. Sorry, we can't attack particular products unless we can get the bakery on.
Morris held Celia close as the waves caressed the beach. The coconut palm leaves fluttered in the late afternoon breeze and sent glittering fragments of golden sunlight dancing across the sea. Celia's heart seemed to dance in the same way.
Darling.
Yes, my darling.
Darling, could we...
Yes?
Should we?
Yes, Morris. Say it.
I mean, we're both mature people.
Yes.
Well, darling, could we...
Eat the last tomatoes? Oh, yes. Throwing caution to the wind, Morris and Celia tore away the wrappers of their last world's sorbettos. They relished each morsel of real orange sorbet, locked in a delicate choc layer, embraced in a crisp wafer cone. The real orange sauce was almost too much for them.
Morris, say you'll never love another.
Oh, darling, I'd love another if you've got one.
Wall Sorbetto, a truly adult affair.
Whether you're considering a Citroen, Lada or Ford for E-Day on August the 1st, give the rest the big E for John Wilding. Right now, John Wilding is getting all excited by offering truly exceptional deals on all 3 of these makes, along with extremely low finance on selected models. You're always guaranteed John Wilding's excellent after-sales service too, and exceedingly generous part exchange allowances. So see how easy John Wilding makes buying E-Reg cars with Citroen and Lada at Banbury Garage, Westgate, Morecambe, and Ford on the A6 Gar Stand.
It's everybody's idea of a trip to paradise. a holiday in Hawaii. And it's probably your idea of a holiday that's way out of reach. But now, for Red Rose listeners, that idyllic Hawaiian holiday is genuinely affordable. For £599, we'll spend 2 nights in Los Angeles and 9 in Hawaii. The price includes transport, flights and hotel accommodation. When you consider the standard airfare alone is nearly as much as that, I think you'll agree this is an outstanding holiday offer. We leave on the 2nd of November, but you must book as early as possible to guarantee your place. Pick up your Hawaii holiday leaflet from Red Rose Radio or any branch of National Travel World. And sit back and imagine the tropical palms, the Pacific sunsets, the Hawaiian guitar.
Wouldn't mind going on that myself. How do, Sharon?
Hiya.
Yeah.
I'm ringing up to tell you about a sponsored charity that we're doing for MenCarp. It's 24-hour Monopoly and we're doing it now.
You're doing it now?
Yeah, at Northbrook Training Centre for YTS.
And how much have you won so far?
Well, we've got over £100 so far.
No, I mean on the Monopoly.
Oh, me? Well, I won the first game.
You won the first game. So it isn't a continuous game, you just start again.
Yeah.
And how long have you been going?
Since 9 o'clock this morning.
Have you? And where's it at?
Northbrook Training Centre in Lyland.
Northbrook Training Centre?
Yeah.
Oh. And how can people give you money if they want to? Have they got to come down?
Yeah. Well,
Right.
we can come down tomorrow.
You can come down tomorrow, but you finish at what time?
9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Well, they won't have much time to come down, will they?
No, but the manager will be here.
Oh, that's all right then. You'll all be at home in bed, won't you? Well, well done. Hope you get lots more money, all right?
Right,
Smashing
fine.
to that. How do, Joanne?
Good evening, Alan.
Good evening.
What I wanted to know is, do you choose the music for the chronological moment?
No, very rarely anyway.
I've got a suggestion for you.
Well, it's a suggestion you'd be better addressing to Paul Fairbairn that does, but tell us.
Go. I was thinking, why don't you get the listeners to write in and make their suggestions, and then you make the selection?
Well, it means I've got to do all the work.
Well,
I've got to go in the library.
that's not much, is it?
No, it's not much, but it's more than I'm doing now. I'm not in the business of adding to my workload. If you can think of an idea that takes work away, that I'm happy with.
I thought you liked work.
Whoever told you that?
I'd like some more green mints from my boyfriend.
I'd like some more mints from anybody's boyfriend. I don't care whose boyfriend or girlfriend sends them as long as I get them. All right?
Right, okay.
Cheers. Ta-ra. How do, Mike?
How do, Al?
What do you want?
I want to talk about reincarnation.
Are you dead?
No?
Go on then.
Well, I'd like your opinion on it.
Well, I won't know till I'm dead. And then I might not know anyway.
Do you believe in it?
Not really.
Why?
Well, I've not been convinced. Are you going to try and convince me?
Yeah, alright. Well, I'd like to convince you that if you're hypnotised, then you can think of another life, if you know what I mean. You like talk about another life if you're hypnotised.
Well, that's a matter of opinion as to whether you talk about another life.
Well, I've seen it done.
Or whether you regurgitate something that you've learnt subconsciously in your past.
Oh, I've seen it done.
No, you've not seen whether somebody's learnt something subconsciously.
No, but I've seen the hypnotist.
Well, you have seen, in your view, seen the operation of a hypnotist putting somebody under his, quote, spell.
Yeah.
And then spiel out all kinds of information, but you don't know how that information got into the brain in the first place.
No, I know that, but...
Well, you'd have to know in order to establish that it was from a previous life.
Do you believe in it?
What did I answer last time?
No.
Do you think my mind's changed in the last minute?
No.
Why bother asking the question?
Oh, why don't you believe in it?
Well, no one's been able to convince me so far, and you patently
Yeah, no, but I'm asking you the question.
Like I said, the reason I do not believe in it is no one has been able to convince me that it is
Well, you
factual.
must have your own opinion.
My opinion is that it is not a genuine thing. It does not happen. But I am still open-minded. I am still prepared to let people try to convince me.
Well, do you believe in God?
No,
Why?
because there isn't one.
How do you know?
I don't, but you ask me what I believe, not what I know. You don't know. I don't know. You ask me what I believe. I believe there is not. You are entitled to what belief you wish.
Okay then, thanks.
Pleasure. How do? George.
Hello.
Hello.
I'd like to talk to you about custody. Ask you a few
What bugs me the most about custody is, see, I'm divorced now. I don't see why women should always get the kids, in a court.
They don't.
Eh?
They don't.
All right, sorry, I'll rephrase that. Why 9 times out of 10 women get the kids?
9 times out of 10, it is better for the child for them to do so.
Well, how can you say that, Alan?
I can't. It's the court that does.
Well, put it this way. I know how to change a baby's bum. I know how to feed a baby.
Well, there's a lot more. There's a lot more to life than just doing the functions.
Well, I looked after my kids when I was unemployed.
No one is suggesting that you didn't.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, so who's saying? The judges say that they're better off with the mother, but how can they say they're better off with the mother?
They can't say. They have to guess.
All right, then. Well, do you think that's fair?
I don't know of any other way of assessing it other than an educated guess.
Oh.
Well, there isn't. Give me another way.
Well, it's like I've said, a bloke.
I've heard your complaint.
Yeah.
Give me another way. All the judge has at the end of the day is a load of information, and then he has to have an educated guess as to what would be best for the child. Now, you tell me another way of doing it.
Well, I couldn't.
Well, neither can the judge. So until we can find a better system, we'll stick with the one we've got.
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with it at all. Not one little bit.
Why not?
Why?
Why?
Because, as I've said, I could
No,
do...
you're telling me now, George, about a decision that you disagree with. But what do you expect the judges to do?
What do I expect the judges to do?
Yes.
I expect them to give the bloke a fairer chance of getting his own kids and looking after his kids, bringing his kids
Well, I'm
up.
forced to ask you, what makes you think that you can do a better job, and that's the important question, a better job than your ex-wife?
Because, for the simple reason, my ex-wife isn't working. I am working.
Well, how are you going to look after the children all day?
I'm not saying I can look after the kids all day, but I can make
What
sure
point-
they have a better life.
Well, tell me about this better life they're going to have. Who's going to look after them all day?
Well, I could get someone to look after them.
So
couldn't
you're
I?
suggesting that the court takes the children off your wife, who can look after them 24 hours a day, and gives them to you so that you can get someone who doesn't know them to look after them. How is that better for the children?
It's not someone.
Here's
I'm
a
not
stranger,
saying someone
kids.
who I don't
We're
know.
taking you off your mum, and we're giving you this person that's neither your mum nor your dad. How can that be better for the children?
That's not. I'm not
But that's
saying
what-
that. I'm
what are you
saying
doing?
I wouldn't just leave my kids with anyone.
I'm not suggesting you would. What type of person would they be? Your auntie, your mother, your cousin, your friend?
More family, sister
So they'd be
or
family.
mum or something
So you
like
say to the kids, you're not staying with your mummy anymore, you're staying with your dad's cousin.
that. Well, I wouldn't say cousin.
Well,
Not unless I was very close and...
Well, who
you
then?
know,
Who? Is it
I'd
your
say
sister?
my mother 9 times out of 10.
So you take the children off their mother for their grandmother to look after them.
Yeah.
That's unsatisfactory. They're better off with their mother.
Well, how's it unsatisfactory?
Because they're better off with their mother.
Well, you tell me how they are better off with the
Because she is their parent.
mother. Well, so am I the parent.
They won't be with you, you'll be at work.
Yeah,
They won't
but
be with you. They won't
forget,
be with
I'm
you.
not going to be working 24 hours a day, am I?
No, but they won't be with you for a very large proportion of the day. I presume you don't...
8 hours.
No, considerably longer, because they sleep for some of it. So they won't be with you for about 16 hours. 2/3 of the day they won't be with you. 1/3 of the day they'll be with someone who is not their parent. The other third they'll be asleep. Now, if they're with their mother, 2/3 of the day, working on an 8-hour sleep pattern, most days they can be with their mother, a direct parent. That surely is more satisfactory than being left with somebody other than the parent.
All right, then, let's say
You
that...
see, you want custody, but you don't actually, you're not able to have them in your custody for 8 of the hours every day.
All right, then, let's say that I'm not working, right?
Well, you are working. I'm sorry, no, if we're going to talk about a real case, we'll talk about yours. If you want to invent one, then fine, invent one. I'll toss a coin, same way as the judge does. But if you want to talk about a real case, the judge made the right decision in your case.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do Tim.
Hello, Alan.
Yes?
I'd like to talk about sexually explicit films, if I may.
You'd have to talk about what?
Sexually explicit films.
Go on.
I'd like to say that I think it's stupid that by the age of 16 you can actually have sex, you can have a sexual experience, Yet you have to wait till you're 18 years old so you can go to a cinema and see some other people doing it on a screen. I think that's stupid, Alan.
Why do you think it's stupid?
Well, I mean, if by the age of 16 you've had sex, I mean, why shouldn't you at 8? Why shouldn't you also be able to see other people doing it?
Simply because it may affect the way you do it when you haven't had time to establish your own love-making patterns.
I think it's stupid, Alan.
Well, obviously you do, but stupid people often think things are stupid. How do Paul?
Hello, Alan?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about something that happened to me today. The police came round to me flat in the morning. I wasn't in, and they left a message with a neighbour saying that they wanted to see me for a production of my documents. So when I came in, I got told this, and I went round to the police. You know, I hadn't even been pulled up for a producer. And they asked me name, date of birth, and that. And it turned out someone's used my name on a motorcycle and gave my name and address in, but they didn't get me birth right or my middle name. And, you know, the police are sort of, they're not trying to prosecute me, but they're sort of saying if I don't find out who it is, they think someone's been using my licence. You know, they're going to try in some way of, you know, getting me.
Well, just ignore it for the time being.
Well, you know, what can I do to find out who this person is?
It's not your problem.
Well, what'll happen? You know, if my name's...
I've no idea what'll happen, but for the time being, do nothing.
Yeah, well, they've got my name and address, haven't they?
Fine, for the time being, do nothing.
You know, should I see a solicitor or anything?
Not yet, no, you might be wasting your time.
Okay, then.
Do nothing until the police take their next move, and if you're not happy with their next move, ring me. I'll do Peter.
Hello, Alan.
What do you want?
I'm having trouble with my sex life.
Never mind, I suggest you stop being ugly. I'll do David.
Hello, I'd like to talk about the Pope.
We don't like you, we've told you before, you are filth. I'll do Martin.
Hello, Alan.
What do you want?
I'd like to talk about these football fans that are supposedly following...
When you say these football fans, which ones?
The Southerners, Chelsea fans.
You'd like to talk about Chelsea fans? I wouldn't. I have no desire to talk about a particular football club's fans, nor indeed anything to do with football. It is a boring game played by boring people, watched by imbeciles. It's now 19 minutes past 11.
Glendon Motors, Peugeot, Talbot.
Glendon Motors, Lancashire's #1 Peugeot dealer, announced the special E-Edition Peugeot 205 Junior, the car with everything and nothing. Everything like white colour scheme, denim upholstery, rear wash wipe, reclining seats, 5 doors. And nothing because Glendon Motors are offering you 0% APR finance on this exclusive car. Ask for written details or call now. Glendon Motors, Blackpool Road, Preston. Phone 735 811.
Glendon Motors, Peugeot, Talbot.
Looking for a great day out? Bring the kids to Morecambe Leisure Park and laze away the day and watch the youngsters splash out in the fantastic outdoor heated pool. It's even got a wave machine. Morecambe Leisure Park. It's fantastic and costs from only £1.50 for a full day out. Phone Morecambe 424444 now for details. This Saturday from 9 till 12, the chart of Lancashire's favourites will be played on Lancashire's favourite station, the Red Rose Top 40 on Red Rose Radio, in association with Red Rose Kitchens of Morebrook Street, Preston, manufacturers of quality fitted kitchens and the #1 kitchen for your home. The chart is compiled by computer every week from sales throughout the Northwest. Catch the Top 40 this Saturday at 9 a.m. and discover which song's been made #1 by you.
Red Rose Kitchens, always the #1 for your home.
I'll do Richard.
Oh, hello, Alan. Just before the news at 11, there was a lady on about a trip to Leeds. I really don't quite know. I didn't quite follow what it was all about, which is not the point, actually. But it seemed to be some sort of special case. She seemed to want some advice which could only be obtained in Leeds. There are, in fact, organisations around who might fund this, if it is, in fact, a special case. Could I suggest that she goes to the Citizens Advice Bureau and ask for contact names to contact the local round tables?
Yeah, they might be able to help. Indeed, they have helped in the past on such things.
That's right.
The problem is that the round table generally do it on a one-off basis, and she would have to make fairly frequent trips to Leeds because it was for consultations with a specialist lawyer.
Right.
So, thank you for the offer, and
they do,
maybe
in fact, They do judge every case on the merits.
Absolutely.
It's worth a try if it's a particular
Yeah,
case
not
and a
knocking
special
it.
case.
You're absolutely right. It's well worth a try. Thank you for that.
There's 3 round tables in Preston.
Yeah, I don't think she's ringing from Preston. I think she's actually ringing from Manchester. Not to worry.
Was that right?
There's about 20 of them there.
It's a national organisation.
I know. Okay.
Okay, Alan.
Here's Richard. I'll do Ian.
Hello?
Yep.
Alright, Al. I'm phoning up to talk about the DJ on Radio City,
Go on.
Johnny Kennedy.
Oh, him.
What?
Oh, him.
Yeah, he's better than you.
He may well be. I'm sure he'd be grateful for an audience this size, but yes, he's better than me.
Yeah, he's got well better audience than you, but I did the week's brilliant.
When you say a well better audience, what do you mean?
Well, we're like scousers, know me, thoroughbreds, you're just bullies in the middle of nowhere.
Would you like to tell me what a well better audience is?
Yeah?
Go on.
Scousers?
I'm more concerned about what the phrase well better means.
Well better? Well, you know...
No, I don't. That's why I'm asking. No, excuse me. Excuse me. Yes, well, I'm not. So
Yeah,
I'm asking one who is to explain the terminology. What does the phrase well better mean?
Yeah, well, it's very hard to explain to someone.
Well, do try. Yes, I know, but do try to come down to try to come down to my negative intellect level and explain it to me.
Mr. Smith, Nissan Man. You only have till the end of this month to sell 300 cars in the Car Challenge.
And here's how. With 0% finance on Bluebirds and Sunnies, a demonstrated clearance, prize draws every day, and my Ace card, massive, I mean massive savings on all new and used cars. There, that should do it.
The Car Challenge is now on at Mr. Smith, the Nissan Man, Moore Lane, Bolton.
Go high-tech windows.
You can really see the difference with high-tech windows.
Go high-tech windows.
You can rely on high-tech. We employ our own fitters. We're a local friendly service with no high-pressure salesmen. Visit our factory showroom any day from 8:30 to 5 p.m.
High-tech windows.
We're at Furthergate Industrial Estate, Harwood Street, Blackburn. Call 56513 56513.
Go high-tech windows.
For sale, classified advertising space in the Red Rose Advertiser. Black and white, very tidy, excellent condition. Genuine reason for sale. Wanted, classified advertisers. Items up to the value of £15 are advertised free. Items from £15 to £35 cost just £1, and it's just £1.65 for items over £35. Simply fill in the coupon in this week's Red Rose Advertiser, or call in at St Paul's Square, Preston. Sell it in the Red Rose Advertiser.
Well, I'm exceptionally grateful to Ian because of the common language he uses. I'm now able to ban the dregs of society. In other words, if you have a Scouse accent, you are banned from this programme. You can keep your puerile filth for the likes of Johnny Kennedy, who I'm sure finds it welcome, interesting and scintillating. But from the sewer of the world, I suggest you hang on to your money. Assuming, of course, you can find a phone that's working, which is not easy in a filthy place like Liverpool. How do Neil?
Hello, Alan.
Yes.
I'd like to talk about your advertisements for your Big Blue cassette and the theatre shows you do. Do you have to pay for the adverts?
No.
Why not?
Why should I?
Because anyone else who tries to sell themselves, they have to pay.
Yes.
Well, why don't you then?
Because I'm me.
What makes you special?
The fact that I don't have to pay for my adverts on Red Rose.
Well, is it the
I
reason
would have
because...
thought that was rather special.
Is it the reason because you're advertising Red Rose?
I've no idea what the reason is. I've tried not to question it too closely.
Well, I can't understand why other people say a car firm has to pay for adverts and you don't.
I'm not a car firm.
Would you get the money off the shows and through the cassette?
Yes. Some of it. I don't get it all. All sorts of other people get money too, like the Inland Revenue and the people that made the cassette and our Rod next door who did some of the production work. And indeed, Red Rose Radio also get a tiny percentage.
So is that why you don't have to pay because...
I've no idea. I don't make the rules.
Who does?
I don't really know that either.
Well, I think it's wrong that
Well-
other people have to pay and you don't.
Well, if other people didn't pay, none of us would be here.
Well, say I phoned Red Rose Radio
Yes.
and said I want to advert on
Yes.
for free because Allan Beswick can.
Well, they'd say, well, Allan Beswick happens to work here.
That makes no difference, does it? If you don't have to pay, why should I?
Neil, it doesn't appear to make any difference to you, but it appears to make a difference to the individuals who make the decision.
Well, it makes a difference to me because you're a beaut.
I'm a
Beaut.
beaut.
Yeah.
It would seem they have a whole language of their own. Do you have teeth in your bum? Or do you just talk through it? How do Mark?
I'll do, Alan. I wonder, can you give me some advice?
Yes, never go to Liverpool. It's full of filth. How do Paul? Paul's gone. How do Nathan?
Hello, Alan.
Yeah,
I would like to ask you your advice on something, please.
go on.
I'm self-employed. I organise day trips for old people in council homes and in private homes. Now, the local council where I'm from, which I would like to keep it, I won't tell
Go
you
on,
the
get
name-
on with it.
the name. They've said that they won't allow me to go into their homes and offer my service of organising day trips for residents in council and establishments. Now, several other people have told me that it is not up to social services, it is entirely up to the officer in charge of that particular home, or those homes. Social services head office have already put the kibosh in for one home. I had an order of 17 residents to go away to Buxton with me.
What's your question?
Can I have them on any, sue them for slanderous allegations?
They haven't made slanderous allegations.
Well,
What
they-
allegations have they made?
Right. Well, what's happened is I wanted to find out of social services if there was any rules and regulations, because several people were saying,
Nathan, I asked you a question. I don't want your life story. Just answer the damn question. What allegations have they made?
right, well, they say that I am not allowed to go into any corporation.
That's not an allegation. That's an instruction. What
Right.
allegation have they made?
Right, well, they've turned around to an old people's home and said, don't entertain this gentleman whatsoever. And it's been...
What allegations have they made? I'm not going to ask you again. I really have not got all night. The programme ends at 2 and I can't spend the next 2.5 hours prattling on with the same damn question. Answer it. What allegations have they made?
Well, they've not made any allegations.
Then how are you going to sue them for the allegations they made? You've not made any.
Well, the top and bottom of it...
The top of the bottom is you're talking through your bum. They've not made any allegations. How the pig in hell can you sue them? What are you going to sue them for? What allegations have they made, will say the judge. And you'll say, well, and he'll say, yes, but what allegations have they made? And you'll say, and he'll say, yes, but what allegations have they made? And you'll say, none. He'll say, well, get out then.
Yeah.
Divvy.
Yeah, but listen, I want to find out of social services, is there a ban in their establishments for small firms to go...
Well, ask them.
I have, and they say, yes, there is.
Well,
And
you
then
found out then. You said you want to find out. You found out.
Yes,
There is.
and then other people of high authority...
Who's other people?
Of high authority... Of
What is high authority?
Uh,
Why don't you write to the Director of Social Services
yeah,
in your local district
yeah.
and ask him or her. And when you've got the answer, if you are not happy with that answer, then write to the chairman of the Social Services Committee of your county or metropolitan authority.
Right.
Okay?
Fine. Okay.
Ta-da.
Thanks a lot.
It's as simple as that. Not quite as simple as you, but as simple as that. It's 11:30 and a half. You have... I've just Beswick myself there. That should have been the damn time check button. Never mind. It's now 11. Oh. Another 15 seconds yet. I suppose we could count them. 10, 9, 8. This is original. Sod the 7-second delay. It's now 10:31. It's not! It's 11:31! Oh, God, I wish I was dead!
It's Broadbent and Boothroyd's Silly Sale Day this Saturday, with crazy bargains in all departments. You'll be silly if you miss this sale at Broadbent and Boothroyd's of Southport this Saturday.
There goes another one in the 300 car challenge at Mr. Smith the Nissan Man, and another £20 to the National Children's Home.
It's now 11:31 and a half.
Win £50, £20, £15 each week at the Newmarket and M2 Market, Waterloo Road, Blackpool.
That was hard work. How do, Catherine?
Good evening, Alan. You sure about that, are you? 11:31 or whatever?
I'm not totally sure, no.
You confused me completely then.
Don't worry.
10:30.
Don't worry. They've got that ad on twice. They'll be happy as pigs in muck. Go on, what can we do for you?
Well, it's about fathers getting custody of the children. It was on a few minutes ago. I know of somebody personally who did actually get custody of his two sons, mainly because he was made redundant. He tried for custody before that and had no chance at all, as you said, because he was at work. He was made redundant, not through his own fault at all, and in fact he made a successful application. So I think anybody who wants to get custody, any father who wants to get custody of his children, has got to be able to look after them himself most of the time, otherwise he's no chance.
Well, I don't say that is the only criteria, but yes, that is part of it.
Very important.
But obviously, if his wife's a nasty piece of work, if his wife's got 3 convictions for beating the kids...
You've heard about this case already, have you?
No, behave. No, but if his wife's got a conviction for beating the kids or something like that, then obviously it's going to be easier for the husband to get custody or the father to get custody.
In actual fact, it was very hard work because although there was good reason to believe that the children would be at risk if they stayed with the mother because of a boyfriend, it was still extremely difficult to convince social services that they would be better off with their father, and it took a lot of determination and a lot of persistence. You know, you just had to keep on and on
Catherine,
and on.
I've got to say that it was just coincidence that I actually picked on that. I was merely offering that as an example of one of the cases where a father would have a greater chance. It turned out that it happened to be so in your case. I know of other cases where the father is actually working, where the mother hasn't been a nasty piece of work in terms of beating the kids, and the father's got custody. There are cases, considerable number of cases on file. Obviously, the preponderance is for the reverse to be the case. The mother gets custody.
It must have a lot to do with the age, mustn't it, the children as well?
I'm sure all of it comes into consideration. The courts are, in my view, quite good at deciding which way the children should go, but they seem to work from the premise, why should the children go with the father when the mother is available?
Well, this is it.
They tend to work from that premise.
Yeah, the problem...
And that
of course,
seems to me to be as good a starting point as any.
Oh, certainly it is. The problem is, of course, later, if the mother's got custody and she starts to get awkward about access, because a lot of fathers really want to see their children. And mothers can make it difficult. Not to say that there aren't faults on both sides always, but it can be a terrible situation, particularly if it's sons, perhaps, where access is being denied and the father is getting quite desperate because he's no real recourse. He can go back to court. By the time he gets back to court, he may have been weeks, if not months, without seeing his children.
That's right. It is custody and the like. It is a complete and utter mess. And it's made no easier by solicitors.
No.
It's made no easier by lawyers and barristers and all the rest of the people. At the end of the day, the only way to resolve it is for the two people to say, well, we may well have had an acrimonious separation, we may well hate one another, but we've got to sort out what's best for the children. But unfortunately, children, we've heard the phrase tug of love, and unfortunately, it's all too frequently a tug of hate. They're using them as a stick, if you like, to beat their partner.
Well, I can see it from the other side, because I brought up my son on my own. And to be quite honest, I'm glad his father didn't want access, because it made life a lot simpler for me. That's a very selfish point of view. I think it did also make it somewhat simpler for my son, because he didn't have to make any choices. His father just never got in touch. But when he was old enough and he wanted to see his father when he was about 14 or 15, I went to a great deal of trouble to find out where his father was, and in fact he went to stay with him for a time. So that possibly undid some of the damage that his father, for his father not being there all those years.
Indeed, there isn't a perfect solution, is there?
I can understand why mothers would rather, if they had custody, keep the children to themselves. I can understand the children's point of view, and I can understand the father's point of view, because I've seen it from both sides, in a sense. And I did have something to do with the person getting custody. Although whether or not that was a good thing to do, I'm still not sure, to be quite honest. But that answers your previous caller, doesn't it? That
it does
in fact
indeed.
you have
Catherine?
to have a very good reason, a very good basis for applying for custody in the first place.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, thank you.
Surprised though
Bye.
that I just love them doesn't seem to be a good...
A street, a sound is the start of the day. It's the heat of the road, it's breaking away. A kiss, a glance, it is hot, it is cool. A smile, a chance, it is breaking a rule. It's just how you feel when you know it's for real. It's a hit, it's a Coca-Cola, is it?
This is it, the best place to go. The Coach House Diner is the one you'll want to know. Yeah, this is it.
Bring the family to eat at the Coach House Diner in Lytham. We're open from 5:30 in the afternoon, lunchtime from 11:30, all day, Saturday and Sunday, with superb menus, including a special one just for the kids. The Coach House Diner, opposite the Green on Henry Street, Lytham.
The Coach House Diner, this is it.
There goes another one in the 300 car challenge at Mr. Smith, the Nissan Man, and another 20 pounds to the National Children's Home.
Thinking of changing your hi-fi? Call into Lang Video Audio at Crumpton Street, Wigan and Nesley Street, Bolton, the North's leading part exchange hi-fi specialists. Ring Wigan 323-897 for details now.
How do, Richard?
A very good evening to you. I'd like to make a comment on the proposed privatisation of the electricity board.
Let us hear it.
Well, basically, the fact that as you know, the electricity board is a monopoly. I think because it is a monopoly, there's two main undesirable effects this may have.
Well, let's hear... Go on.
Sorry?
I was just waiting to see if you were going to give them to me. Go on.
Okay. Firstly, the fact that it has no competitors means it may well charge any price it chooses.
Well, let me stop you there and say that the gas board is in an exactly identical position, is it not?
Well, it has...
The answer to that question is yes. It doesn't have
degree
a...
of competition, does it not?
Well, name it.
Certain independent companies, I can't name any.
Well, where do you get your gas from?
The gas board.
I'm sorry, I thought you said you could get it from independent companies.
Well, not direct competition piping into your house. I mean,
So the gas board is a monopoly. If you wish to purchase and use gas in this country on tap, then you've got to get it from the gas board. You can get a propane, but if you want to use gas, you've got to get it off the gas board, haven't you?
Okay.
So the gas board is a monopoly. Now, when the gas board was privatised, there were rules and regulations imposed upon them, one of which was that should the price of their raw material, vis-à-vis North Sea gas, diminish, then that saving must be passed on to the customer. And indeed, gas prices are coming down because of that. So it is possible to privatise the industry and yet still maintain a degree of control over their pricing policy.
I understand that, but what if the point you just made is turned on its head and the reverse actually becomes the case?
What do you mean the reverse becomes the case? That the price of their raw material increases?
Right, yeah.
If the price of their raw material increases, they are empowered, and indeed should be empowered, to increase their price. If they've got to pay more for it, then they've got to sell it for more.
Will this be what I'd like to know? Would this be implemented with the proposed privatisation of the electricity board?
I don't know is the answer to the question. I cannot predict the future, and the government, to my knowledge, have not yet made any statement about it. But I can't honestly see it being allowed to sneak through the House of Commons without such a proviso, given that the gas board had such a proviso foisted upon them.
Could I just make another point?
Yes, you can. You said there were two. That's one we seem to have talked you into a corner on. Go on, let's see the other one.
Again, because it's a monopoly, electricity now comes directly from nuclear power. Now,
About a third, I believe it is, on a good day.
well, it's still a substantial amount.
No, I wasn't questioning it, I was merely giving the figure.
Okay. But the fact, if it did become, well, it will, when it does become a privately owned company, can the government really justify that
Well, again, the
safety will be upheld?
The current idea is for the electricity supply industry, by that I mean the likes of Norweb, Manweb and all the other webs, to be privatised. There is not yet a plan, to my knowledge, that the CEGB, the Central Electricity Generating Board, should be privatised. Maybe that's on the stocks for the extreme future, but it's not there yet. And they're the ones that handle the nuclear industry. As far as that element of the nuclear industry, the power generation element, as far as the electricity boards are concerned, they merely buy the product off the CEGB.
Well, you're not sure about that, you see.
I'm not saying I'm not sure. I'm saying that at the moment I know of no desire on the government's behalf, or no express desire to privatise CEGB, Central Electricity Generating Board. That seems to have put your other point in a closed shed, doesn't it? Never mind.
I understood that the proposed privatisation, like I say, cover all the boards, as it were.
It does cover all the boards, all the electricity boards, but not the generation boards. They're two separate things. The CEGB generates the electricity and then sells it to all the different electricity boards around the country.
Yeah, that's the point. I thought that the whole lot was going.
Well, I may be wrong, but it'd be a novel experience if I am. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye now. And you. How do, John?
How do? Before you cut me off, I'd like to say I'm not a Scouser. I was born near London.
I can tell a Scouse accent when I hear it.
I'm not a Scouser. I was born in Barking.
I'm just saying. Well, I don't care whether you're barking or not. What we're bothered about is whether you're talking Scouse or not, and you're not.
Right, fine. Thank you. But as I say, now I live in Liverpool, and I work for Radio City. And I'd like to say why...
What do you do?
Yes.
What do you do?
I'm personnel manager.
Personnel manager of Radio City. That's interesting. Name me your managing director.
Bob Hold.
Good night. How do, Christine?
Oh, hello, Alan. I'd like some advice, please. Our pet rabbit was savaged to death by a dog today.
I suggest you put it in a pie, love.
Oh, no, that's not funny, Alan.
It made me laugh. Go on, what can I do for you?